Bulldog Nation, you are now going to witness, watch, and listen to the best podcast in the league. Get set for a wild ride with From the Hill Podcast, featuring Wayne Cartwright, Damian Green, Tanarius Gooden, David Thomas, Jennifer Murray, and Corey Williams. Don't miss out. Subscribe now to From the Hill Podcast. It's time to turn up the excitement and make some noise.
What's going on, family?
What's going on, fellas?
What's good?
What up?
Well, we are back again for another spectacular night of From the Hill Podcast action. And it is a very special week indeed with Magic City Classic week. And we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. Not just Alabama A&M against that team down the road, but we got a couple things that we got on this Magic City Classic and Roundtable episode. So first and foremost, I want to stop and I want to say this to Corey and also to T Gooden, because you guys have something on that is very near and dear to my heart and very near and dear to everybody that is celebrating this month. So Corey and T, why don't you talk about why you have the colors you have on and what we're celebrating here.
I'll let
Go ahead,
you.
Corey. Okay, I got it, Corey. So yeah, as everybody knows, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Save the tatas. Make sure you go get yourself checked. This is not only for women; men can also get breast cancer. I just saw an ad on Facebook maybe 30 minutes ago. Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's dad, was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And shout out to my homegirl Nikki Tibbs. She she played on the Butler team back in the 90s when they were real good, when they went to state championship and all that. But she got diagnosed with cancer probably a couple weeks ago. So she's going through the early stage of the process now. But stay strong, Nikki. It's all good. And just another notch to knock off.
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, and we all got people that we know or affiliated with, friends, family, who has been affected in some way of breast cancer, and some have been survivors or are survivors, and so we just want to bring awareness and ensure that that is recognized.
Yeah, very well said, gentlemen. And for anybody that's out there that has a loved one, make sure you honor the Think Pink cause. Also, if you can, make sure that you donate to any of the causes. There are several of them that are out there. That would be awesome. Also want to send a shout out to somebody I know very well that I just ran into at homecoming, Mindy Thompson. She's a breast cancer survivor. So shout out to you and all of the breast cancer survivors and also family members that you know out there. So great cause, and let's keep that going. Now, DT, it is great to see you tonight, my brother. I want to give you a few words because we don't get a chance to see you too often on the airwaves. So we'll give you a few words, man. Speak a little bit, if you would, about what this week means to you, man.
Well, we've got the 90th Magic City Classic, which is a big number. The first one was played in, I believe, 1924 with a break during one of the world wars.
It was 84. It's 90.
90, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big deal, man. Big deal. Being a Huntsville kid, I've been to quite a few classics back in the day, and people always say throw the records out, and that's not always exactly the case. But I'm gonna post this on our blog sometime this week. The game might be a little closer than what people think it may be, just based on, Jackson State, they drug us pretty bad a couple weeks ago, and then Bama State almost beat them. But I'm seeing some things statistically that make me believe that this game might be a little closer than we think it may be. Can't wait.
Well, hey, you're gonna have a good chance a little bit later to discuss that, as we get into it. But and good evening to you, Dave.
I'm here. A little late, but I'm here.
Yeah, man. So before we get into the proceedings tonight, first off, let's do is what CJ says. What's up to you, CJ, and everybody that's watching out there? Make sure you do what the screen says. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button for us. And also across the bottom of the screen, you can see all of the updated sports information. We've got the game on Saturday. Volleyball's in effect. Soccer's going. You got cross country that's getting ready to head on down to Tallahassee this week for the SWAC championships. So looking to see them get a nice showing down there in Florida. So yeah, man, we getting ready to really get into some things tonight. And what better way to do that by showing first and foremost, got something that's going on down there in Birmingham on this Friday. T. Gooden, you take the wheel here, my brother.
Yeah, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, and I'm at this point I'm too old to try to get down there early and beat the crowds and do all that stuff. I just catch it on TV. But yeah, man, make sure you can still go to MagicCityClassic.com to RSVP. Make sure you go there. Make sure there's more maroon and white than the black and yellow. I think they call themselves black. Is it black and gold for them? To me, it's black and yellow. So make sure it's more black and yellow. I'm sorry, make sure it's more maroon and white than black and yellow. Gates open at 7:30. The show starts at 9 o'clock. That's Central Time. That's Eastern Time for everybody on the East Coast. So let's if you're not able to make it, make sure you watch it, stream it. And again, all this stuff is important because if you're not there and if you don't watch, guess what? They're gonna do it again. So you got to make sure that you're supporting it whatever way you can.
Yeah, so
and,
that
T,
show.
I think
Go ahead.
the bands are participating in this as well at the first take. So to your point, that just adds to the excitement because everybody loves to see the bands, and this is a great opportunity for both of our schools to be showcased on this national stage on ESPN. Because the other two HBCUs, Norfolk, and I forgot who the other one was, if they
Delaware
had
State.
already. Delaware State, they had really good showings at their first take. So we definitely want, all of Alabama A&M and Alabama State people to come out and just get ready for this event.
Right.
Yeah. So so it'll be Shay Cornett. She's the new host. Then that dude that loves to talk a whole lot, real loud. And then Cam Newton will be there. So it'll be great, man. Looking forward to a great event. So yeah, this is the 84th edition of the Magic City Classic, but it's the 90th. I think I know where DT you were going. It's the 90th time we're playing, but it's the 84th
Classic, right.
Magic City Classic. Okay. So, all right. So with all of that stuff being said, all right, let's talk a little bit about this Magic City Classic, the experience, the week, all of the above. All right. We'll definitely, we're going to talk about the game schematically and all those different things, but let's start with some of these events, man, and talk about just the evolution of the Classic. I know we got into it last year with this same group. Last year, we talked a little bit about like the heritage, the history, all that kind of stuff. But what I want to kind of start with tonight, I want to start with the present and just see where we go into the future. Because the reason why I say that is that you've got this year and next year on the contract. And I'll ask anybody that's on this panel and anybody that's in that knows anything, if you've heard anything about any ongoing discussions past next year's edition. So we'll start there. Corey, I think this is a good point where I'll call on you, my brother.
Well, before we get there, I want to make sure that we do let everybody know about the volleyball game tomorrow night.
Oh, yes, sir.
With Alabama State and Alabama A&M, and for all the fans to come out, and that'll just get your Magic City Classic week started because we need to pack, the gym, and support our Lady Bulldogs.
Correct.
But the Magic City Classic, I think it's got to a big event and really has grew over the years. And actually, when I say grow, I think financially for both universities as well. because both universities have negotiated more income, so they don't have to play those big money games. So I think Birmingham, the economic impact for Birmingham is huge, and so they really want that game to remain there because they know the value that when both schools come the last Saturday in October every year. They know all the hotels, all restaurants, and everything is going to stay packed. So I think Birmingham has a major incentive for the game to remain there, and I do think because it's centrally located for both schools, I think both schools really want for it to remain in Birmingham, but it's going to have to be financially, in best schools, interest to remain there as well, because at the end of the day, as more federal funds and things schools still have to operate. So we still have to operate as a business. So I think as long as the financial is there, I think the game will probably remain in Birmingham as long as the financial. But no, I don't have any inside scoops or anything. This is just totally CK Williams talking. But I think Birmingham means a lot for the Magic City Classic, and I think it'll take something very drastic for it to change from Birmingham.
Yeah, well, DT and then T and then Dave, when we talk about the financial ramifications of it, when you talk about what would be significant in terms of in terms of contractual payments, DT then T, where would you guys think would be for the next contract? Where you think it needs to go?
I think it's going to get renewed in Birmingham again. They've got the infrastructure and the tradition. As far as the finances are concerned, one of the things that you often hear is this term called economic impact, and that is a very loaded term. One of the things that I've always looked forward to is what exactly does that mean from a revenue and quote unquote profit standpoint for the city of Birmingham. But that's just my dollar nerd side coming out. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. They're going to negotiate and get some more favorable terms for both schools. Birmingham means a lot to both schools, right? Birmingham sends a lot of students to both Alabama A&M and Alabama State. But my personal opinion, and I don't know anything. I haven't talked to anybody about anything, but I think both schools are going to be looking for just their best deal, and they should. That's what any negotiation is all about. It's just fair and reasonableness for all parties involved. Legion Field, I'll say this much though. Legion Field is not getting any younger. And I think that if you think in a long-term, 10 to 15 year, mindset, I think that there's probably some heartburn over just what the Classic is going to look like when the old gray lady finally goes to glory. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. T, what you got, man? What you think?
Man, I can go a whole lot of places with this, but I'll save that for later on in the show. But I think like my two comrades said, I think it'll stay where it is. I think you do short-term contracts. Don't do long-term. The schools should do short-term contracts. Of course, the Jefferson County and Birmingham is going to want something long because then you're locked in for that amount. So I think the schools just do it like slow walk it, like just give them 2 years, give them 3 years, and so forth. So that's how I think it will remain. The one thing that it comes up every year that I just don't understand how people still don't get it. The only thing that is preventing the game from being in Huntsville or Montgomery, other than you have to probably argue with people for 3 years when it actually does happen, is the stadium size. Now the Classic doesn't, although the tickets sold is one thing different than actually people being in the stadium.
Yes.
So Legion Field can hold everybody. I'm there every year. I see it. I see the number that they say are there, and I see the people that are in the stands. So the stadiums in Montgomery and Huntsville can't handle that. We get it. However, there's a a stadium across the town called Protective Stadium that can suit everybody. And then just if you raise the ticket prices, which people still gonna pay. I can't believe the classic tickets are $100, and then they gonna swipe the card. So it's gonna. I think that's probably eventually gonna go because, like DT said, that stadium is not getting any younger. I don't see them putting any investments in it because the only time that stadium gets any action is when the Magic City Classic starts. They got who is it? David Tuskegee and somebody playing in it.
And Miles.
Yeah, Tuskegee and Miles are playing in it because they increased the ticket sale, but that's going to be like it's not going to be good because it's not going to be 50,000 people in there. It's going to be 20. So you know what I'm saying? So but yeah, I think it's gonna be gonna stay where it is. And also people like to say, well, Huntsville and Montgomery can't handle the foot traffic. Those are the people that haven't been to Huntsville in forever that say stuff like that. Because it definitely can. We see it every year with homecoming, and Huntsville has stuff all the time that handles the foot traffic in the hotels. And the HPD has more police than a little bit. So they got that all taken care of. And Montgomery just had their homecoming and Tuskegee Morehouse in the same weekend. So it's not the cities, it's just a stadium size. But for that reason and tradition, I think it'll stay in Birmingham, though.
Yeah, and I see here in the comments, he says Legion Field's getting a $1 million makeover soon. And then just as soon as I saw that, CJ was like, $1 million isn't going to do anything to Legion Field.
That won't even fix the bathrooms, man.
I was just thinking that. What is $1 million going to do?
That's the turf. That's the turf, right?
Yeah, $1 million for $1 million for like that old is just like me paying $1.
Right.
You're not going to see
$300 in the church pew.
A big improvement from $1 million in that stadium.
Yeah, don't upgrade it for $1 million. Just split the baby and give the schools $500,000 each. Like, don't even do that. We can figure out what to do with the $500,000 in our own stadium.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay. Now, Dave, I know like you and I, we don't live in the state of Alabama like our three co-hosts do. Right. But from an outsider view, what are your feelings about just about the standing of Legion Field, just wherever you want to go with it?
With what everything the Magic City Classic brings, so not just the events that are like the parties and things like that happen at the different locations there, but if you look at, because last year there was a big conversation about moving it to you guys' point, moving it from Legion Field to Protective Stadium. And so some people were for it and some people were against it. Everybody had their different opinions about it. But if we look at, again, all what the Magic City Classic brings from the people in the stadium for the game, the tailgating thing, which are the two most important things that everybody looking at, which was their argument as to why they did not want the game to be moved from Legion Field to Protective Stadium. But where I could see it going from there, I honestly don't think it's going to leave Legion Field either, because there's just too much tradition and too much history, and the investment that it will take also to upgrade Legion Field. I think we've shown that they haven't. Well, haven't been to the Classic in a very long time, so I'm not sure what Legion Field looks like now outside of what I've seen in pictures. But if they haven't made major upgrades to it now, and we're still renewing the contract and still playing the game there every year, I don't think it's an urgency of theirs to update it, and we're going to keep on coming back and having it there, and contracts getting renewed. So even with the $1 million investment that they're putting in to do whatever upgrades they're going to do, like you guys said, it won't put a dent in anything, but we're still going to have the game there. So
T, go ahead, man.
I don't see it moving.
May I add that I don't want to sound like the anti-Birmingham person, man, but again, most tradition rivalries are played at people's home stadiums. You just saw a great Alabama and Tennessee game. That pick six at the end of the half is going to be forever etched in Bryant Denny history. When that kick six in Auburn is going to be forever etched in Auburn history. Of course you can remember the history in Birmingham, but I want when a game is being played, when you go to the Alabama games and the Auburn games, they show the highlights of previous games, hype videos and stuff. I want to see something happen at Cruz, man. Like I do. I want to see something. I want to see a good highlight happen at Cruz. Again, I know I'll probably be at retirement age if that does happen. It's gonna take the Corey's kids to make that change. When they get up into we probably won't see it, but I just wanted
to be right behind him.
Yeah, DT. Yeah, it might be me, DT's kid that has to make that change, because we just know how those conversations are going to be, man. If you ever get to that, but home and home games, man. And I get probably know what CJ said, Wayne, about the paycheck every other home game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's true. However, that's any game.
Exactly.
You don't get a check when you're on the road, and you get one when you're at home.
Exactly.
I mean, that's any game.
Exactly.
And that piece can be negotiated.
It can.
Always remember that. You can always negotiate that piece.
Right.
Yeah. And go ahead, Corey. Go ahead, and then I'll jump in after you.
I was going to say, and that's sponsorship. You get a lot of your money, and so it's a way, because if people don't realize, as far as with the Mad City Classic now, whoever's the home team get more money now anyway. You know how they negotiate it, because the away team gets, if I think, I can't the exact dollar figure, but I think the home team gets about $1 million, and then the away team
1.2, I think.
Yeah, then the away team gets probably like 5 to 7, somewhere in that range, and so they're splitting. They're not getting equal amounts on the same year anyway now, and if cities like Huntsville, who has a great Huntsville Sports Commission, if they come and make a big offer, because I'm telling you, Huntsville is hosting major outdoor concerts and can really, and got a lot of brokers who can really put can raise some eyebrows.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, Mark Russell.
Yes.
And y'all know, I just did one of those major events when I was down there in August doing the Masters.
And if they put a bid together with different, sponsorships, I'm pretty sure they can, if they really want it, they can really try to get it if they really want it, because Homecoming, did some numbers, throughout the city. And so if they really want it, they can really put an offer in to really have us second thinking
right.
things.
Right.
Yeah. So where I wanted to go on this same stance, and just kind of going back on Dave's on behind Dave, because like I said, I don't live in Alabama, but I do go to Birmingham once a year when I go do the SWAC indoor. I'm actually going to go twice next year. And when I went and I did the SWAC indoor last year, I drove by Legion Field just to see what it looked like. And yeah, it looked the same as the last time I was there in 1999. But my point with this is some of these rivalry games, the one major one that obviously, or the two major ones that play neutral site every year, it's Oklahoma, Texas, and then Florida, Georgia. But where I want to go with that Florida, Georgia is very interesting. Is there was a period in the 90s when Jacksonville, when they got the Jaguars, the franchise, they had to renovate the stadium. They did a complete gut job of the stadium, and they played in Athens and they played in Gainesville, home and home, for 2 years. And the promoters of the game in Jacksonville increased their offer a lot to get those teams to not play on campus, because it did big numbers, as you would expect that a big rivalry does. And for me, I just think that it's really crazy that Alabama State has never played in Louis Cruz Stadium, and we've never played in Alabama State Stadium. I don't care. I'm just really impartial to that whole crowd talk. all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, man, I'm just all for some down home rivalry, home cooking, hostile environment, crowd noise, because we would have some serious crowd noise. Now, Stuttering Noob, you bring up a point here, and this is where I want to go with this. And I want to make a challenge and this is what my pushback to anybody that says, but those stadiums can hold the game. Okay. I need folks, if you really, really need to have an open mind, you got to get your head out of the thousands of people that are in Birmingham. You got to stop with that. You got to realize that on our level of football, almost every Saturday you play, it's what we have in our stadiums. SWAT crowds are 20,000 just about every single Saturday, or 17,000 or whatever. That's a regular crowd. You don't mean to tell me that 22,000 people in Louis Cruz Stadium wouldn't be extremely loud and it wouldn't just be a raucous environment?
And do y'all know how good that will look on TV? I really hate playing in NFL stadiums because when it's on TV and it just looks so empty. It could be however many people in there, but to your point, Wayne, we don't fill our games up when they're in those NFL stadiums, and because NFL stadiums are so large, it just looks bad from a TV perspective because it looks empty. It's like, who's at the game? When we played Tennessee State, even though we had a good showing there from the A&M side, Corey, you were there and you said that a lot of the A&M folks moved to the Tennessee State side because of the sun was in you guys' face. But still, that's a huge NFL stadium, and with the crowd that came out to that game, it looked like, where was everybody at?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what people don't realize as well is that we talk about expanding Louis Cruz and bringing things closer to the field. And that's a way, Auburn, Alabama, they didn't expanded their stadiums so many times. And we can expand, because like T said, you charge more money, per ticket because really your main revenue is coming from sponsorships anyway. But
right.
but you're gonna raise ticket prices to capture some of that anyway. And like you say, the demand will be there. If we got 30,000 seats or 20 something, hey, it's gonna sell out. Demand gonna be there. Everybody, I guarantee you, gonna sell out in the first day. The first or second day, it's gonna sell out. And your season tickets, we trying to sell 5,000 season tickets. I guarantee you, if that game is home and home, you're gonna have about 10,000 season tickets from the.
Yes, sir.
You will have Bama State. You will have Bama State alums buying A&M season tickets just to get in the stadium.
So just think what that revenue will do holistically, because you getting those season ticket sales every year. Right now, we can't even get 5,000. Probably ain't
exactly.
Hey, we're going to, if you make people buy the season ticket for certain events, they're gonna buy them, because this year you couldn't just buy the tailgate spots by game. You had to buy them for the whole season. And guess what? Even though some people only came during homecoming, they still had to buy for the whole season, and they still had their spot. So, if you people like to spend money on stuff they like to be around. People like to be part of the in crowd. They'll do it. If those tickets were $150 a piece, and you raise parking to $50 to go to A&M, guess what? People gonna have their $200 to the side to make sure they're there, and the ribs still gonna be on the grill, and the Don Julio still gonna get bought. It's still gonna happen.
And let me add this too: you will have campus-wide tailgating. Think about that for a minute. You sell a tailgate package to Bama State alums over on the east side of campus, and A&M alums are over on the main part of the tailgate area. Now, man, just get out of here with all of that. You can't do it. So here's my thing.
You can be creative with stuff, man. You just got to be creative. You got to be creative.
Exactly. Here's my thing about the home and home versus Birmingham discussion, right? Yeah, a lot of it comes down to dollars and cents, but one of the things, like Wayne, you mentioned earlier about how Jacksonville came together as a citywide entity and said, we're not letting this game get away from us, right? because Athens, Georgia, Sanford Stadium, and Gainesville, Florida, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, those were leverage points. Those are campuses that said, hey, we can play this on home and home if we want to. And Jacksonville said, no, we don't want you to leave. So, like, yeah, if we had the game in Huntsville or in Montgomery, you're not going to get 65,000 people in the stadium. Do you have to?
No.
Exactly. You would get, say, 30,000 in both. And trust me, you could fit 30,000 in Crews if you really wanted to, because you got all this space.
Bring some temporary bleachers in, man. Roll them in.
Bingo. You got space. People that want to come are going to get there. And think about this too. How often are there 65,000 people in Legion Field in the middle toward the end of the third quarter?
None. You don't see
Everybody's back out in the tailgate drinking and telling lies. In the third and fourth quarter of the Magic Classic, right? But guess what's on the scoreboard? A tie ball game. 9 times out of 10, the Magic City Classic is within one score late in the third quarter.
Now,
with 35,000, 40,000 people in the stadium.
I can't speak to Alabama State, but I can say this. At our home game, what typically happens is people bail out after the halftime show. However, when we just played our last home game against Mississippi Valley State, those people didn't go anywhere at all. They were still there. I was shocked because I was not used to seeing that. So I was very shocked about homecoming where nobody went anywhere. And I think at that point at halftime we were way ahead, but it was a comfortable lead at the time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and the people were still there, so I can't say that. I don't know what they do in Montgomery, but I know for that game, that homecoming game, we did do well after the halftime show and all that stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up because that just shows we are slowly changing the culture around things, and just by seeing that, because normally that's not the norm. Mm-hmm. Normally the norm is after halftime, everybody's gone. And so we had a lot of people that still remained. And I just think if they, going home to home, I think the economic for both schools can be, they can make a whole lot of money, way more than they're making now. And just imagine having 10,000 season tickets sold at the beginning of the year for each year. Just think how much that gives a university that you're not seeing at all.
The NIL impact. We can, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I'm telling you, you're going to have to think about all these things when you're looking at, first of all, you got to treat it like a business. And just like T said, with NIL and different initiatives where, you want to make sure players are, being taken care of and so you can be competitive. You're going to have to seriously think about those kind of things because I know, IAD, with season tickets, I know he wants to grow those, but, when people knowing you got Alabama State coming home, hey, they going to get season tickets.
You think about it. Go ahead. Let me just say this real quick. Okay. You want me to pull up? You want to bump a comment?
No, yeah. Well, no, it was kind of, yeah. Go ahead and put it in where It's Me Brand said BHAM supports A&M way more than Huntsville, and Corey kind of hinted at that with the culture change. And I'm gonna give you a plug to go to frontofhillpodcast.com to read a great article by this guy that wrote something about that. But anyway, yeah. So I do. At the present time or previously, Birmingham does support A&M a little bit more than the residents of Huntsville do, say the city. But when we had Vice President Bryan and Vice President Talley on a couple of weeks ago, they were talking how the students that are getting enrolled now, they'll go to war about A&M.
Different kind of students.
Different kind of students. The kind of student when I was a student, I wasn't really up on school spirit like these students are now. That type of element didn't exist. We didn't run across the field for the first game and do all that stuff. I cheered for my team on every Saturday when I was there. I went to the volleyball game and had my key. Was shaking my keys when Coach Betty Austin's team had ran somebody out of ran somebody out of Elmore Gym, and I was there when we played basketball games and the heat was on. And it was in the Pac Elmore Gym, but these students now have a different type of love for Alabama A&M, and that's how it starts. I was watching on TikTok. I was watching highlights about this kid. This kid was boohooing because he saw that Alabama guy ran that kick six back. He was a Tennessee Titans kid. The dude was like 4 years old, but he knew that wasn't a good thing already at 4. He that's not good. So like stuff like that, it has to happen younger. So then when they get to our age in the 40s, it's easy work. Now they got little bitty kids that don't even think about another school. Forget another, like, I want my kid to go to HBCU, Alabama A&M is the top of every school. So that culture is changing for the better, I think. And I just want to bring it up, Wayne, while Corey had mentioned.
Yeah, so I want to say this, and then I'll kind of shift the conversation a little bit. One more point about this being home and home. Man, do you know how many recruits both schools could bring to that game? Recruits could come on site and they see that atmosphere. And man, could you imagine just be like, man, you mean I could play in this game in this kind of atmosphere?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's all.
Listen. Here's the thing about that, right? Somebody posted, I don't know, this was BJ Jones. Somebody posted a picture on Twitter of a ULM Warhawks football game.
Yeah, I saw that.
With like maybe 3,000 people in the stadium, right? And you think about all of these G5 programs like UAB and Middle Tennessee State and so on and so forth. And how often does a Conference USA football player play in front of a crowd like that?
Only in a payment game.
Where everybody is turned up and the bands are going crazy and the fans are going crazy, and it's another 60,000 some odd people smoking in the tailgate and the stadiums. But how often does that happen in the Conference USA?
Yeah, well, he says these kids don't actually CJ, you'd be surprised how many kids actually care about the atmosphere. Now, there are kids who want both.
Right.
They want the
Right.
Now, the money matters. Don't get me wrong. The money matters.
Right? Yeah, but there are kids
guess what a
that
home
want
and home
both.
does for you money-wise.
Right. They want both of them.
Right.
So
and
yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, that's the last thing about negotiation. And then I don't think I get in trouble for saying this, but I think maybe I read in the contract last year that when those negotiations do take place, they have to take place within days after the game on Saturday. So you can't just piddle paddle around to see if you're going to have the game. So we can, like, the game, let's say the game is Saturday. It ain't going to be like you're going to talk about having the game 3 months from now. Like, hey, we need to know now. So, it's kind of like you got to have your plan going into it versus just stretching it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of those things that, that's why I wanted to be at home.
Yeah. So speaking of home, I want to first go to our quick break and then come back, because this is an interesting segue into where I want to go next.
Stand out, show pride, represent your legacy. The King McNeil Collection brings you premium college gear and Divine 9 paraphernalia made with style, quality, and culture in mind. Whether you're repping your alma mater or honoring your fraternity or sorority, KingMcNeil.com has what you need to wear it bold. Shop the collection today and let your look tell your story. Visit KingMcNeil.com, where tradition meets fashion. Use discount code FTH15 to receive 15% off.
Yeah, and that's a really good segue. And first off, shout out to King McNeil. I'm actually wearing mine right now. Feels very, very nice. So I wanted to go back to homecoming, and I want to talk about how all of us were at homecoming, and I really wanted to talk about how well done it was, and also talk about some of the things that we did. You know, of course, we had Dr. Brock Talley on, we had Dr. Paul Bryant, we had both of them on the show during homecoming week, and they talked about how there would be increased security presence, and there was. Talked about, you know, things to keep everybody safe. Those metal detectors, I definitely going through those metal detectors. Yeah, it might have taken a little bit of additional time to get going through, but listen, I felt awesome by it. Oh, we got a special guest. Oh, there he
Uh-oh.
is, Dr. Bryant.
The
Speaking
man
of,
himself, dialing in.
yeah.
What's
What's up, Doc?
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Dr. Bryant?
What's up,
Hold
AD?
on.
How you doing, man?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Oh,
Loud
okay.
and clear, Mr. GQ Smooth.
No, sir. You know what? I'm just relaxing right now. enjoying the show.
Still recovering from homecoming.
Yes,
So-
and started here. I'm in Birmingham.
Oh,
So
wow.
Dr. Bryant, of course, he watches the show every week, man. And you know, I just hit him up like, "Hey, you got something you want to add to the show?" And then he was like, "Yeah." So, hey, what you got to add for us, Dr. Bryant?
First of all, I think this is a great show. I appreciate all the comments, and I was reading some of the comments. I'll tell you, before we can even consider anything like that, we have to get our season tickets up. You know, and I've said this a number of times. We have a 21,000 seat stadium, and we just this year we sold 3,600. Now that's a far cry from when I started. The most we had sold was 680. So yeah, we are doing a great job, but we have to increase that. If I can get 10,000, someone said that, I think Corey, you said that 10,000 season tickets, not only will that help, that'll fill a lot of the stands, but it will help with our scholarship, help with NILs right now for our students. And so we need everyone to support. And I don't want to sound like I'm constantly saying support, support, support. But the realities is, if we want to be champions, if we want to be in that game, you know, we have to do more. And I employ everybody to try to at least buy one season ticket. And guess what? If we did that, and even if you didn't attend the game, it will help someone else. You can give them away to the Boys and Girls Club, you know, do something like that. And so, and it's interesting. All of my staff, they buy season tickets, and they don't have to. They're going to be there, but they give them away. And so, again, I really encourage everyone to get season tickets, so that there can be a legitimate conversation, because that one game, we know everybody's coming to homecoming. And so, and the city, you know, we're putting heads in beds. So, but we need you to really buy season tickets before we can take something like that real serious. And that's just business. That's
Yep.
all that is.
Yep. Simple as that.
Yeah. So Dr. Bryant,
Yes.
you know, I did say at the top of the show, I talked about how the contract is coming up.
Mhm.
And so when does the discussions begin about the future?
Immediately. So we're going to be talking, uh, uh, and that's immediate. So you know, we have our team, they have their team. They've been at school in Montgomery, and we're going to meet. Now this is when we're going to come together and go and be a unified front, and that's what it takes. The bottom line, that's what it takes. So those talks will happen immediately. I think, yeah, you guys read the contract. You know that it is going to happen immediately.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's good.
What's going on down there in Birmingham? Talk to us what you guys got going on before the game.
Well, we have board meetings. We have a lot of events that we have to attend by contract, and so alumni stuff. And I encourage everyone to attend the alumni events. It's exciting. It's exciting, and so there's a lot going on. Tomorrow we have the press conference. Then we have some board meetings that we have to attend. But we're here. We're ready. We're ready. And on Thursday, my team will be here. Um, I think we're ready.
Hey, I know we kind of jump from you in Birmingham, but on Monday there's a big game coming to the EC, the event center. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it's the resurgence of the Mayor's Cup, and that's us playing UAH, and the women are playing, and then the men. There is going to be a special recognition for our representative Hall during the halftime of the men's game. Um, we need you to come out. It's a free game. It's a free game. If you want to see what it's going to be like this season, come on out. Check us out on Monday, both women and men.
Yeah, man.
Can't
Dr.
be
Bryant,
free.
Dr.
And it's
Bryant,
free.
Dr. Bryant, I gotta get my hands on one of them shirts there, man.
Hey, excellence is our standard, baby.
I like the fatigue look to it, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hey, you know what? It's all business. We're about to go to war. We're ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got a question. You mentioned the board meeting.
Hmm?
What typically is asked and required of an athletic director as far as his board of trustees?
Mhm. So one of the things that's required, fundraising, first thing, and then they look at how well we're doing academically, because of course we know that's why our students are there, student athletes, and how well we're doing academically. And I would have to say we are exceeding some of the expectations that we had initially. Um, our students are doing wonderful. We have over, I believe, I don't want to get this number wrong, but I believe we had over 40 something that had a perfect 4.0. And we have some of the brightest students in the athletics department. So the board is looking at that, looking at the fundraising, actually looking at how many season tickets we sell, and just how we're doing overall as a athletic department. You know, they of course, we want to operate in the black, but to do that, we have to increase donations. We have to increase, we do our game guarantees and things like that. So that's what they're looking at. And just to see how well I'm operating this department, and they're looking at my hires. Who am I hiring, and how effective they are in their respective positions. So it's a totality effort there. And but I am so blessed to be able to communicate that our student athletes are doing well in all areas.
Yeah.
AD Brown,
Well,
I'm
Doc,
so
go
glad
ahead.
that you broke that down as far as what the board looks at, with athletic directors, because you hear a lot of conversations about, well, this athletic director only won this many championships, this athletic director hasn't won any,
Right.
and I think some people believe that that's all you guys do. Is like hire coaches and hopefully get championships. When there's a whole totality of things that you guys are responsible for, and it's not just limited to a coaching staff in a respective sport.
Exactly. And you know what else? They look at how effective we're getting into the community. How much are we engaged in the community, and not only in the community but outside community. So today I got the opportunity to speak at Trustville City Schools, and their women's basketball program. And so just they look at that. What are you doing? And are you reaching 90 miles and around and beyond?
Mhm.
And we're doing that. We're doing that. And so they look at the totality of the program.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dr. Brown, we got an alum that he just popped up a question. Talk to us about the new deputy AD. Can you tell us a
Oh,
little bit about him?
yeah, Deputy AD just came from FAMU. His name is Travis Glasgow. What he did, he was the deputy. Actually, he was the interim AD or acting AD there. Now he's our deputy, and he has a background, and got his degree from Coppin. He's been at Kennesaw State, FAMU. He's been at multiple schools, and he's been in that role. So this deputy AD is going to assist in operations, and as well as assist in our NIL space there. Now we're hiring an associate AD for external affairs. They we're really gonna be hyper focused on increasing funds, and that is we're gonna look at all areas. And so the deputy is gonna help with day to day, as well as help with NIL.
Good deal.
That's what's up. Well, I wanna ask this, and I think this is a pretty good blanket question statement. Of
Okay.
course, with the landscape of college football and just college athletics, the expectations that are placed on coaching now, where you've seen coaches getting fired left and right. You've seen all this stuff. Listen, I've tried my best to educate people that you just can't get rid of folks that are
Mhm.
under contract when you don't necessarily have the money. I'm like, some of y'all been watching too much TV when you seeing James Franklin $49 million buyout. But anyway, my
Right,
point
right.
with this and where I'm going is just talk about, just from an AD's perspective,
Uh-huh.
just like how much this current landscape, how much has changed in terms of fan expectation and pressure that they put on coaching.
Well, I don't know that it has really changed though, Wayne. And I'm gonna tell you because the expectations has always been there. It's the patient level. They're
Okay.
not as
Yeah.
patient as before because we feel. I mean, people feel that they're trying to win right now. Uh, there's, you're getting paid these high salaries, and people want it's instant gratification right now. And so, but it's a lot. You just can't say I'm going to fire this guy. Oh, I'm going to pay this person out because you got to read the contract, and all contracts are different. But let's say I let's say I don't want to use that example. Never mind.
Yeah, don't do
Yeah,
let's just let's
you
just say,
gotta,
let's say Corey, you were my lacrosse coach.
There we go. I was gonna say we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Corey, you're my lacrosse coach, but you have 2 more years on your contract, but you're not winning. So then you and I will have a discussion. There is a clause in your contract that say I can terminate with cause or without cause, right? And so you and I will have a discussion. And I don't like to terminate. I like to come to a mutual agreement that is best for both parties to leave each other alone, to get a divorce or whatever it is. But it's tough. You just cannot just automatically terminate people. You just can't do that, especially when they're under contract. If you don't have the dollars, and I heard in one instance they wanted me to let Corey go because Corey wasn't successful, and they were saying that they wanted to buy Corey out. Hell, I'm trying to get season tickets. Let's buy those. so before we start buying people out, let's start increasing some of the things that we need. So, but Corey, again, I'm gonna have to let you go as a lacrosse coach, sir.
Hey, if you got one of those good buyouts, I'll take it.
Hey man, getting fired as a football head coach these days, man.
If you coaching FBS, man, like send me home, brother.
Right. It's. But you know what? It's tough for the ads. I'm not gonna lie because there's a lot that we have to do to get that done and to make that happen. It's not just okay when you lose a game, we come in the next day and you terminate. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Mm.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good little segue. So from Dr. Bryant's point of view about the game on Saturday, what's it gonna take for us to kick this three-game slide that we have and get back in the winners column against these guys?
I think Alabama State, they're good. They're good. They play well, but I don't care about who we play. It's about how we play that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do what we're supposed to do. We could beat anybody on any given day, but we have to follow the game plan. We have outstanding coaches, starting from our head coach all the way down to our equipment manager. They are some of the elite. And if our young men buy into exactly who our coaches are and their game plan, I have no doubt we'll be successful.
Yep.
All right. And before I get you out of here, CJ will whoop me if I don't put this up on the screen.
What
He
is
said,
that?
"Can you speak to any plans
Oh,
for the baseball and softball lights?"
oh.
Yes. So that too. See, okay, I'm gonna break it down real quick. The reason why I harp on season tickets,
Mhm.
Corey, you mentioned it in the show. It increases our revenue. It allows us to do more stuff like that. It allows us to go out and pay for the lights. We have to do that. So we keep pushing season tickets. That's going to increase our revenue so that we can assist in buying lights and putting turf down and all that. It's not just something that we can automatically do. We need revenue to do that. So how do we do that? We go play some game guarantees. But the quickest way, the easiest way is to become a season ticket holder. If I could get 15,000 season tickets sold, that will give me enough to really sustain my budget and then start fixing up other areas of the athletics department.
Before you go, what's the goal for basketball season tickets?
Sell out.
All of them.
All
Fair,
hey,
fair enough.
6,100.
them.
Fair enough.
6,100. but
All
but
of them.
I'm gonna tell you,
You know,
you know what? And realistically, we last year we sold nearly 400. If I can get 800 to 1,000 season tickets sold, that will truly help all across the board. Remember, those three sports are our money sports. That's where we charge. We do well there. We can really do well with the other sports.
Mhm.
Go ahead, DT.
I was gonna say, you probably in this area, you probably have a bigger chance of getting to 1,000 basketball season tickets sold than you do. I bet you get there quicker than you get to 5,000 in football.
So I challenge you. Let's do it. Let's bet.
Okay. I bet you a sport coat from Oxford Street.
What? Right, you trying to break me? No, I was talking about let's bet off the dollar. I was thinking off the dollar menu of McDonald's. What you
No,
talking
Yeah.
You said
we
sport
play
coat,
big
boy.
football around here.
Right. No, but seriously, that's a challenge. Let's get it. Let's get 1,000 season tickets this year. Men and women's basketball. If you haven't paid attention to what happened last Monday at the
Mhm.
Boutwell,
Mhm.
And it's gonna be
that's
something
just
to see.
that's just a prelude of what's actually going to happen because several players didn't play.
Mhm.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's
And
awesome.
the reason why I say that, and you may have done this already, but if you haven't, Dr. Brian, I want you to go to a Jemison versus Lee basketball game.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then
Yes.
I want you to go to a Jemison versus Lee
Lee.
football game, and you
Yeah.
tell me which atmosphere has the more juice in it.
Yeah, no, I have. And you know what? I'm trying to get one of those games at the arena too.
There you go.
Yes,
That's
sir.
where I
Yes,
was
sir.
going with it.
That's exactly right. So I'm the AD for Huntsville City Schools. He's one of my homeboys from Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna rep Dayton, Ohio.
Mhm.
You know that.
Oh, Mac Howard.
Mac is from Dayton, and so
Yeah.
we've talked about, and we really, if I can get a couple of games at the arena, that's what generates not only recruits, because once they see people want to play there, but the atmosphere alone, we're going to create a dynamic atmosphere. It really will help us as we move forward and stay in the community.
That's
And
awesome.
Dr. Brian, we talked to the two basketball head coaches last week. They came on the show.
Yeah.
And one of the things I told the team, as far as our From the Hill podcast team, so boy, won't it be great if going into the SWAC basketball tournament, both of our teams are playing for the championship on the same day. That would be awesome to have that fanfare there for that.
Hey, listen, when that occurs, that's going to be some of the best baskall ever.
Yes.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
Dr. Brian, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the event, because that luncheon, that's a whole event in itself.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, but we're gonna calm down some of that banter, Because actually it doesn't do any good for any of us. And of course, we know the rivalry. We know how that is. But the bottom line is, you know how we feel about them. We know how they feel about us. We don't need to talk about it. We're just going to get on that field and show what's up.
There it is. And also, hey, we can use a shameless plug since this thing is sponsored by Amazon. Hey, Mackenzie Bezos, you know, hey, if you're feeling generous, you can come on
Yes.
and run some of the millions this way too.
Hey, just look at the success at Alabama A&M. Come
Yes,
on and
man.
give us some of those dollars.
Come on now. All right, Doc. It's
All
great to
right.
see you, brother.
Appreciate you,
And
AD
Yes.
we
Bryant.
appreciate you as
I'm holding
always.
you to that sport coat, by the way.
Hey, and listen, I'm gonna get you. Wait till I see you.
Hey, before you go, hit me with that familiar line.
And as always, go Bulldogs.
Bulldog.
Bulldogs. All
All
right,
right.
Doc.
See
Good
y'all
to see you,
later.
man.
All right.
That was awesome, man. That was our Dr. Bryant.
A little impromptu
athletic director.
appearance
My
there.
sport coat. I'm getting
Yeah.
my sport coat.
You're
Watch.
gonna get your sport coat. Okay.
See,
All right.
see what DT trying to do is DT trying to get the AD to pick a one sport is better than the other. You know he ain't gonna do that.
No. All right. So I'm gonna pull this down and you guys know what time it is.
Yep.
You know what time it is. These SWAC game picks are brought to you by Rita's Italian Ice and Frozen Custard, located in Madison, Alabama. Whether you're craving something cool and refreshing or smooth and creamy, Rita's has you covered. Stop by and taste the flavors that make every game day sweeter. Rita's Italian Ice and Frozen Custard, located at 8042 US Highway 72 in Madison. All right. Gentlemen, we have a full slate this week. Not that stuff that we had last week. We got a full slate this week. And so let's get it started. Everybody, you know how it is. You put your picks in the comments, and yeah, we're gonna do it. All right. We start with the Magnolia Bowl being renewed down there on the reservation. Valley got its first win last week over, well, both teams got their lone wins against Lincoln. So both teams, this is one of the long standing rivalries in SWAC. These guys have been playing for a long time, and it doesn't matter what the records are. These guys, they love to get after each other. All right. So now they're on a reservation on Saturday on SWAC TV. They have their renewal. All right, Corey Williams, who you going with?
Ooh, this is a toss-up, but I think this is a toss-up because I wouldn't be surprised if Mississippi Valley wins, but I got, with it being in the reservation, I got Alcorn winning in a close game, mainly because of their rushing attack, and I don't think Mississippi Valley good against the run.
Okay, DT?
I've got Alcorn because Mississippi Valley is 12th in scoring defense, allowing almost 40 points a game. It's hard to win football games like that. Trust me. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. T. Gooden?
I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and go with the Big Bag Braves in the Magnolia Bowl. Didn't know there was such a thing. Thanks for the information.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shout out to my boy Zoe Phillips. He's the one that I got this from. So, Dave, all right, Dave. I know you love to go. Love to go the other way. So let's see what you got here. Is it a clean sweep or you going for Valley?
Yeah, it'd be insane for me to go against the grain this time. So I'm rolling with Alcorn. I actually liked watching Alcorn's QB play last week. So I'm gonna go with Alcorn. He can make stuff happen.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Valley. Love you, Coach Buck. You're doing a great job, man. I expect this one to be a nice battle down there. All right. This is homecoming down there in Daytona. Pine Bluff. Whoo. That was a game they should have won last week.
Yes.
Bethune is coming off their bye week, and Bethune is rolling on offense. And they control their own destiny in the East. So, Dave, where you going on this?
Simple for me, Bethune-Cookman.
All right. T. Gooden?
I'm going with the Bethune Cookman. I seen them play. They took us down to the wire, so I got to go with BCU.
All right, DT.
I'm going to go with Bethune, but this may be closer than realized. Bethune's horrible on scoring defense also, just like Valley. Watch out.
All right, Corey.
Yeah, UAPB gave away a game against Grambling. They had a chance to be up on them big early, and they let them stay in the game and end up losing. But I got, we gave Bethune life, and they just took it and ran with it. And so I think this is going to be a blowout. I think Bethune at homecoming in Daytona. I don't think it'll be close.
Yeah, Bethune with 3 more wins here. November 15th in Jackson. That's all I'm going to say.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. One more time, we got to say this team's name. Thank God it's the last time. This is homecoming in Prairie View. Spank them boys and move on to Alabama State.
Just go on to the next slide.
Is making their rounds in the SWAC, man.
Right. They done collected way too many paychecks.
Right.
All right. Here we go.
The toilet bowl.
Down on the bluff now. Now, if you can believe this, Florida A&M is still alive in the East because next week they host Jackson State. They only have 1 loss in SWAC play. So they got off the winless streak last week by getting their first SWAC victory against Alcorn. We know all of the turmoil, Edwin Moore, that's been going on down there on the bluff. And this is the first one that interim head coach Fred McNair is going to be the head coach of. Southern has lost 5 consecutive times to FAMU. Corey Williams, does the streak end on Saturday under Coach McNair, or do you give Cozy another one?
Man, you had 1 home going last week, and another home going to be going sometime toward maybe the end of the year. But I got I think Florida A&M will win this game. Because Southern, they look the worst I ever seen them. This year I ain't never seen a Southern team play like they do defensively, offensively, score 3 points. Florida A&M will I got them winning this game.
All right, DT.
Both of the teams are god awful statistically, but Southern may get a spark from a coaching change. I've got them in an upset.
Okay. T.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with FAMU on this, man. And then I low key want Southern to lose just because they fan base. Because they took personal shots against that coach, man. And that's never cool. Yeah, they talk about his weight, talking about all that stuff, man. I get it. You're passionate and you open you up, you're down when you're down. But I hope Florida A&M wins, and I hope their fans are sad another Saturday.
Go ahead, Dave. Who you got, man?
I'm gonna go with FAM. I think this win, especially a homecoming win, probably spark something within the FAMU team. Southern, I just think from watching them play this past Saturday, I think they gave up. Even with this coaching change to hopefully, I guess, get some resurgence back into the team. I just don't see that happening. Losing, being 1-6. So I'm gonna roll with FAM.
Yeah, man. I've never seen Southern the way they did when they walked off that field on Saturday night. That was bad. FAMU, they're not much better, but RJ Johnson did play a good game last week. So we'll see what happens there on the bluff. All right, out in Vegas. This is the HBCU Go game of the week. Jackson State just chilled and got a nice little bye week last week. And this is a get-back game for them. Remember, Grambling 41-20 last year down there in the hole. They forced 5 turnovers in that effort. So Grambling, we know it was ugly last week. It took forever with the weather delay, but they found a way to win, and they got Trey Bradford going. But man, out there in Allegiant Stadium, it's a whole nother story playing Jackson State. This ain't Pine Bluff. All right, Dave, where you going?
I'm rolling with Jackson State. I really think that after watching Grambling play, the only reason they won was because they had that weather delay. Only reason why Grambling won. So definitely Jackson State gonna take this one.
All right, T.
Jackson State by 40.
Yeah, DT.
Jackson State's in a runaway.
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, Gremlin then start canceling their room with their fans already canceling.
You better go just and enjoy Vegas.
Hey,
Right.
I don't think they want to waste their money. I think hey, Jackson State on a blowout.
Hey man, I think that casino and them shows gonna be looking mighty good on Saturday night, bro.
Hey, everything expensive in Vegas. Food. The only thing cheap is the hotel room because they want to get your money gambling and all that food.
Hey, enjoy the experience and playing in an NFL stadium, man. That might be the only pleasant experience they might get, man. It's ooh. Man, when I talked to TC yesterday, man, that dude, look, it is a look that said, man, I want to whoop these boys so bad from last year.
Man, it's gonna be over there halftime.
And now we go to our game, the 84th renewal of the Magic City Classic. Both teams coming off of bye weeks. Both teams going in kind of different fashion headed into their bye week. Alabama State had a very, very heartbreaking defeat at the gun the last time out in Jackson. In Alabama A&M, we got our first SWAC win of the season over Valley. A lot of injuries on Alabama A&M side, but as you heard Coach Shade yesterday, there are some guys that we are getting back. 3 games in a row that we have lost in this series. And there is a lot of urgency beyond just the passion, beyond just the rivalry, but it's just the names on the jerseys and the colors and the color scheme and just the atmosphere is always motivation enough. And so on Saturday afternoon, I turned to Corey Williams and I asked Corey Williams to say, we win if we do what?
We win if our defense plays inspired football and really plays their best game of the year. And also, if our special teams makes big plays and then we win the turnover battle. I think it's going to be key. I really think we can win this game. And I think Alabama State think it's going to be an easy game. So I think if we get out to a good start, I think, it'll come down to one of those classics again that you have to hold on. And it may become where defense or somebody got to make a big play. But it's going to be all about what we do in that first half. If we play a strong first half, I think we'll win this game.
Now, DT, you led off the show where you were talking about some things. Let's hear it.
So I'm getting ready to write a piece on the blog about just, what the numbers look like and are the numbers deceiving. If we can contain Alabama State's rushing offense, which is second in the league, 225 yards on the ground per game, then we're going to have a good shot at pulling off an upset, mostly based off a special teams advantage. So just more to come there.
Okay. T. Gooden, your thoughts?
Yeah, y'all know who I'm picking, so we ain't got to say that. But what DT said earlier, man, like, if you look at the numbers, it's closer than what you think. And then what Wayne said, the only thing that matters is the jerseys, Alabama State, Alabama A&M. It doesn't matter. Both of us, you see, we're even in wins, so no one is actually better than the other when you go to records. But just so people that want to keep up with this stuff, Alabama State is a 3.5 point favorite, and over under is 49.5. So
shootout, baby.
Yeah, shootout, and it's gonna be tight.
Yeah. Dave, your thoughts, man?
So I was pulling up the record, and it seems that there has been a pattern. It's been, sporadic, but there's been a pattern that every time Alabama State has consistently won 3 times, we won that fourth one. So I'm going to bank on us doing that.
Ooh.
But keys to the game, though, I really think that, and everybody knows this, we're going to have to contain body, because if that
Mm-hmm.
man can't find anybody to pass to, he's
Taking
going
off.
to run. He is going to
Mm-hmm.
run. So we really need to contain Biden, and if we can do that, and also get our run game. I know that we've been working on our run game, and it worked for us when we played Valley, but Alabama State is not Valley. So if we can get something going on the run game and contain body, I think we have a good shot at winning this game.
Yeah. So you guys, I talk about this extensively on Wednesdays, but for this show here tonight, I will say this. Both teams, they give up amounts of yardage. They give up about 400 yards a game each. So the scoreboard operator will probably be very busy on Saturday. The weather's supposed to be really good, supposed to be ideal down there. So, I will say this too about us. Alabama State, in their wins, they've run the ball really good. And they've been opportunistic in the past. I will say this, if you're an Alabama A&M fan and supporter, they cannot do both. Because if they do both, run and pass,
It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
Mhm.
there it is.
Yep.
There it is. You got to take away one. You got to be willing to live with one or the other, but it can't be both.
Right.
That's the starting point. And for us, how well did we use this bye week to make some improvements on defense? Stopping that run, being opportunistic in the pass game, because I tell everybody every week, listen, man, the way the rules are drawn up now in the passing game to defend, it's harder to defend the pass now with some of the rules and the restrictions that they put on contact and things like that. So people tend to get their yards if they can throw the ball out there consistently and get it with some kind of accuracy. But where this lives for me is it's Alabama State. They've just been killing folks when they've been able to run that ball. And we know when we watch that Jackson State game, they can watch that tape over and over and over again and get the motivation they need, man. Like, you can't repeat that performance. And again, I'm just looking forward to just seeing this on television. Of course, like every year, I always tend to get into it. I tend to get home and watch it in the second quarter because of regional cross country. But I'm just hoping, man, that what Dave says, man, that's a hell of a stat, man. I love that.
And that game is 2:30
I hope it
Central
holds true.
Time. That game is 2:30 Central Time, also 3:30 Eastern Time.
Yep.
And before we get out of here, Wayne, I just want to touch on one more thing. So kind of what Dr. Brian said, got to cut down on the rhetoric a little bit. There's a couple reasons why I say that. It's because y'all know what type of world we're living in now. You know what type of attacks that whether made up or online that the HBCUs are against. Now, of course, y'all know I would never select Alabama State to beat us, but at the same time, we gotta protect each other's legacy when it comes to being a historically black college in the state of Alabama that has the most HBCUs. So when we're going down this week and this weekend, just keep in mind, man, that like we're there to represent some of the great institutions and some great cities that have a lot of civil rights history. Montgomery, the history of them. They have the Equal Justice Initiative, those different type of museums that you can go down and take a look at and see what's going on there. You got the Birmingham Civil Rights Museum, and obviously in Birmingham, if you guys have never been to either one of those places, take your children, because again, the time we live in, if one person gets on the phone and say, hey, shut those down, y'all know what these people in our state will do. They'll shut it down. So just make sure you go to those places and learn the history of Montgomery and Birmingham for, the betterment of yourself. And just make sure when you're going down to, protect the legacy of each institution, because at the end of the day, we all we got.
Very well said there, T. And gentlemen, I've really enjoyed everything that this show has. Special thanks to our athletic director and vice president of athletics, Dr. Paul A. Bryant, for joining us. Great time as always, talking this lovely thing that we call Alabama A&M University. If you're traveling down to the game this week, be safe and also party responsibly. Shout out to Jen tonight. She wasn't able to join us tonight, but she was here with us in spirit, and she'll be there on Saturday. Hopefully able to take some really wonderful pictures. Yeah. I'll say that. But yeah, Dave and for Dave and T Gooden and DT and Corey, I'm Wild Wayne. Hey, next week we'll be back with you again. We love everybody. Appreciate you as always. Make sure you hit the like button and share this show. God bless you. Good night. See you next week.